Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Friday, September 5th. Happy Friday, everyone. 6:23 right now. We have market opening up in about 7 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and mark up liquidity real quick, and then we will get started shortly with our analysis for today. So it's got a few levels here to mark up. All right, so just a reminder, guys, today is NFP. This is why you see some crazy market movement pre-market. The news was negative, so we had a spike to the downside and a spike right back up. Um, yeah, hopefully the volatility stays, but I mean, who really knows, right? So we'll play by ear. This price
Hey guys,
continues
good
to.
morning, everybody. Today is Friday.
It's the stream right there. All right, so 4 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, 30 minute, 15 minute, 10 minute, and back down to the 1 minute here. All right, guys, looks like we're good to go. So good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, September 5th. Happy Friday, everyone. 6:25 right now. We got market opening up in about 5 minutes. I marked up liquidity over here. Closest level of liquidity above is at 45,741. Closest level of liquidity below is at 45,704. As you guys can see here, we had NFP this morning. The NFP news this morning was negative. So you can see this big spike to the downside and then a huge spike right back up. So if you scroll in a little bit, you can see the big movement happen right here at this red candle, right? Because the news was negative. So what happened here was price pretty much spiked in both directions. It pretty much pushed 100 points up and then 100 points right back down. Um, and that was the NFP. So price corrected from there and it pushed all the way back up right here. And we're currently in consolidation. So hopefully we'll have volatility here on market open. Either price is going to continue right back down for a correction, or it's going to shoot right back up and continue the opposite way, right? Well, I'm hoping we get some volatility. That's kind of the thing that we're aiming for here. But I mean, we'll wait and see. So this is why the market here spiked at 5:30 because it was NFP. This is the most manipulated trading day of the month. Every month, first Friday is NFP, and that's where the data came out right here. It was 79K last month. It was forecasted to be 75. It was actually really, really bad. It was 22K. So it was 53,000 points off from their prediction. So I'm gonna step away real quick, guys. I'm gonna grab some water and then I will be right back shortly to kick off this trading session. So be right back, guys. All right, guys, I'm back. Looking at the breakout for today, breakout looks like it's going to be a sell. We have a sell signal right here. This is going to be tricky because the overall bias is bullish. So if you guys want to take this trade, I mean, take it at your own risk. But what I'm expecting here is possibly an initial drop and then correction back up. So it might drop 50 points and then it might swing back up, but we'll see what happens here when market opens up in 30 seconds. So we got market opening up shortly, guys. This might be a correction down to fill the movement here from the NFP and then possibly a correction back up. My overall outlook for the day is neutral to bullish. The alignment score is 5 out of 5, so or 5.5 out of 10. So it's not really strong, but the overall direction does look bullish here. So if you guys are looking to take the momentum breakout, it is going to be a sell. And we got market opening up right about now. So market is now open. I'll be looking for a buy here because my overall direction is bullish. I mean, if you guys want to take a sell there, I mean, feel free. But like I said, my overall bias over here is very, very bullish. So I'm not really looking to go against my overall bias here. My market structure bias is bullish. My overall daily outlook is bullish. The overall trend is also bullish. So I'm not really going against my bias here for a specific move. So we'll see what happens here. See price pushed up about 100 points. Like I said, everything here is bullish. There's no reason for me to look for any sells. I think most of you guys probably skipped that momentum breakout there because it just didn't make sense, right? Everything here is pointing towards the upside. So I'll be looking for a possible orb entry over here. We don't have the orb high yet, but it looks like the orb high is going to establish here pretty soon. See, here's the problem now. This candle is way too big. So we might get an orb high here, which is going to set up, but the problem is it's going to be super overextended because this is pushed up about 100 points already. So I don't know about taking this orb here either because it is very overextended now. All right, so we got this bullish push here on open. This thing's pushed up 130 points. It's a little too high for me to want to chase this for a buy right now. Although I do think price will keep pushing up. It's a little high. Yeah, it's definitely a little too high for me to want to chase this higher because what might happen is, we might get caught in consolidation. I think this is the all-time high actually. Almost. The all-time high is at 45,844. So we're getting close to that all-time high price. Really, really tricky here, guys, to chase this at the all-time high. Although everything here is bullish, so it's going to be a little tricky. Massive opening candle right there. All right, guys, so if you're looking to take the orb entry, the orb entry is going to be at 45,821. I'm going to follow it here. I don't know if I'll enter it right away, but I'll follow it. 45,821. Yeah, like I said, we're like at the all-time high basically. So this is going to be really tricky to chase this up higher because, this is overextended and price can easily just turn at any moment. So I'll follow it right here. I'm going to watch the price action, but I'm going to think twice before getting into any positions here, of course, right? You got to be smart about it because there's nothing wrong with trading at the all-time high, but you want to make sure that it's actually going to continue up higher. So right here, we got price testing the orb high at 45,821. If it's a clean break and close below, above it, then I'll go ahead and try to take that. But right now you can see it's not a clean break and close, right? It's a retest or not a retest. It's a test of the price. Actually, it is a retest of the price. So it's basically price broke, retraced, and then it retested right there. But it's not holding above it, right? You want price to break above this area and you want it to hold, which is not the case right here, right? You don't want this to touch, 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 then reverse, right? Because what's the point in that? You want price to break above, hold, retest, and continue up higher. So just be smart about your entries here, guys. Again, I am going to be watching for it. I'm not going to be hopping in right away. I'll be looking for price to have a clean break and close past this area. If you've noticed this whole week, guys, we've had a lot of fake outs here, right? So just be smart about this entry here. We've been seeing this every single day this week. Price will test it. It'll test it. It'll break past it and it'll fake out and come right back to the middle range. So just be smart about it. Don't get caught in any traps here. If anything, I would just wait for a possible, continuation later. Right. So we got liquidity here. Let's clean this up a little bit. Chart's a little messy. So we had a sweep from down here, basically on open. Price swept right there. Huge, huge sweep to the upside on the opening candle. clean up this liquidity and just mark up new structure here. All right, marking up new structure here. All right, so looking at this here, guys, if we do get a high-low break and retest above this area, this is going to line up with the high-low. Well, this will be a orb high right here. So the breakout would be an orb for a buy. And then we also get a high-low break and retest off this higher high. So if price does finally make its way back up here, this could be a good setup because it'll be basically two setups in one, high-low break and retest, and then also in the orb buy right here at the 45,821. Majority of the bias here is still bullish. If you look down at my market structure bias, everything is bullish, right? 1 minute, 5 minute, 15, 30, 1 hour, 4 hour. Looking over here at the overall trend, 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour prices above the pivots. Trend meter is green. Pivots are angling to the upside. So buys here do look good. The thing that you want to be careful for though is going to be the fake outs, right? So just look at the price action. Make sure that price has a clean break and close. Retest, continuation. Again, you don't want it to be testing, 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 and then reversal. You don't want to see that. You want to see a clean break and close above it, retest, and break above it higher for continuation. So I'll keep watching it here. I mean, the orb high is still kind of like the main thing I'm looking for right now at this moment. It's still pretty early in the session, 6:35. Let me check the news for today, if there's any other news events. No. So I think all the news events are done for the most part. Think we're good on news for today. We have inflation rate at 7 o'clock, but it's not going to be high impact, it's low impact. So again, I'll be following this here for possible high-low break and retest to the upside. Right here at 45,821. Break and retest off the orb high or a high-low break and retest right here off the higher high. We have a huge, okay, so this is another good confluence right here. We have a huge imbalance. So this is a huge imbalance right here. Price is retesting the imbalance as we speak. Right, so this imbalance was between this red candle right here and this green candle right here. See this big gap? It's this red candle right here and this green candle right here. This huge green candle created an imbalance. So price is actually testing the imbalance right now. It's balancing back down because we had this huge push to the upside. So push to the upside, retest of the imbalance. What might happen here is price may come down to the middle of the imbalance and then come right back up. If we have that right there, that's a good setup and possible continuation. So basically an inverted head and shoulders, right? We have a shoulder, head, shoulder, continuation. If you guys are looking at patterns there. So this here might just sit for a little bit, slowly make its way down, and then continue up right back up to where it was supposed to go. So just got to be patient here. Just got to be patient and wait. Again, my entry point right here for the orb high is going to be at 45,821. My entry over here for the high-low break and retest is going to be at 45,832. Everything is very bullish, so I'm just waiting for this here to correct back up. Right, correction back up and continuation from there. But I'll give it some time. No need to force anything here. Let's see, Sam said, anybody know why YM is up with such bad job numbers? I haven't really looked into it. Let me see. Let's check CNBC real quick. Usually they have breaking news here. I mean, honestly, I don't know. I didn't realize it was that bad until I saw the actual numbers. You know, I thought it was going to be bad, but not horrible. Not like how it was there. Yeah, so not specifically. Um, you know, if anything, you could like ask ChatGPT and it'll probably give you a good analysis on that. I could probably do that right now, let's see. You are a professional futures metals. Futures trading fundamental analysis. Provide a comprehensive breakdown of non-farm payroll data for today, September 5th, 2025, and reasoning behind market reaction to the news. All right, so I'm asking ChatGPT right now. It's just easier for it to give me a response versus me having to go and like look at the actual jobs data. Um, yeah, so the numbers, the jobs data, it was up 22,000 versus the expected 75,000. So it's a huge, huge miss. Unemployment rate is 4.3, which is slightly higher, but effectively, flat month over month. Earnings are up slightly, 10 cents. It just so the big reason is that labor momentum is flatlined. So they're expecting jobs to be going up higher and higher, but it just kind of flatlined. That's why it's like we're not necessarily negative jobs, but we don't have a lot of jobs. There's only like 22,000 jobs that were added versus the 75,000 that was expected. Um, so yeah, it shows that it's starting to go backwards basically with regards to the jobs market. Usually the jobs market kind of picks up after summer because we're going into the holidays. People like to stack up on employees as we get closer to the holidays, but this year it's kind of flattened out. Looks like people are actually not necessarily getting rid of people, but they're not hiring right now. So just a couple things here, but that's kind of what it looks like. And then I think also over here, ChatGPT also mentions that the interest rate outlook, we're expecting a September cut. So with that being the case, inflation data could really affect it, which it did. If inflation data was negative pretty much all this week, and then we have inflation week next week with CPI, PPI, and Michigan consumer sentiment. So that's probably going to be negative as well. It's going to cause some volatility in the market. The crazy thing here is that, the news was very negative, but we had a bullish push here. So a lot of manipulation here, pricing with the actual opposite, even though the jobs data and inflation data has been negative this week. So, I think everything's baked into the market. I think everything here is kind of going up because the cuts are going to happen third week of September for the Fed cuts. They're going to cut, 25 basis points. So with that being the case, um, I think price is all getting baked in right now. So I think what's happening here is price is getting manipulated to the upside for like maybe this week, and then it might go a little higher next week, and then it's going to come crashing back down. Not crashing down, but it's going to come down very heavily third week of September because we do have the interest rates coming out. So that's just my little quick rundown thanks to ChatGPT. Uh, Sam, regarding the market structure for this movement here. But again, that's ChatGPT. I wouldn't take it, directly. I would look at other sources. But ChatGPT is pretty good because the thing is it pulls data from like other news sources. So, I would take that as like a foundation analysis. And then if you want to dig deeper into it, feel free. But that's kind of what I see as well. We had bad inflation data earlier this week with PMI. We had bad NFP. We have CPI, PPI, Michigan consumer sentiment next week, and then Fed data following week. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, exactly. So Fade to Gray said reason for market to go up is due to market now anticipating 3 rate cuts till the end of the year. The reason is bad jobs data will force Fed to cut rates like lower rates. Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Fed. That's why I'm thinking everything here is baked in, right? Because they're going to cut in 2 weeks. It's not going to be a big cut, but it's going to be a cut regardless. So that's why I think everything here is getting baked in. They gave negative news, so people would try to chase the sell, but then they push price up to basically go opposite, and they're baking price up a little bit until the Fed news comes out. So here's the thing. When the Fed news comes out in 2 weeks, price is at an all-time high, right? Or it's almost at the all-time high. So what do you expect, or what do people expect? They expect price to come down anyways, right? So that's why everything here is kind of baked in because it's going to come down and there's going to be a lot of reasons for price to come down. People will have reasoning because we're at an all-time high, and then people have reasoning because the Fed is cutting the rates, and then we have reasoning because inflation is up. There's so many reasons for price to come up. So like right here, I see, we don't like to talk about manipulation very much in the market because everyone, it's a topic that people feel really strongly about if market is manipulated. But obviously right here, you can see price is obviously manipulated. This is pretty clear because the jobs data was so negative that, there's no reason for it to push up, 200, 300 points when, when all the data here was negative this week, right? NFP, inflation, et cetera. Because this thing's pushed up from this morning. Yeah, it's 300 points. It's a big push to the upside with no real catalyst behind it. Um, like no catalyst for a push to, I could see a catalyst pushing it down, but not really to the upside. Um, so I mean, we'll see. I mean, price did come down right here from London session up until now. So I guess, yeah, this was a correction, of course. Yeah, because it did drop down like 200 points and then it corrected right back up 300 points. And now it's kind of just sitting right here in the middle. So we'll see. But yeah, thanks Fade to Gray for your input too. All input is useful and helpful here. If you guys have any opinions, feel free to put your opinions in the chat, guys. There's no, I mean, there is a wrong opinion, but there's not really, if you see things one way and someone sees it another way, it's good to have both sides of the analysis, right? Whether you're right or whether you're wrong, doesn't really matter. The thing with trading is like, that's the beauty of trading. You could be right and you could be wrong and you could still be right. So it's, that's the thing with like, looking for analysis and then looking for strategies and stuff like that. It's like for example, the news was here was negative, so a lot of people could have predicted price was going to come down, and they could have been super super wrong because price actually went all the way up 300 points. So, all right, there's still no orb entry, guys. So again, I was looking for the orb entry up here. I was also hoping that we are going to have some directional move, but not too much directional movement here. Price is kind of just chopping up down the middle. So price is still sitting in the imbalance right here. We have a new high here that's currently pending, lower high. I mean, I wouldn't take any trades down the middle here, guys. So if you guys want to take some trades, I'd probably wait for it to break above this area or wait for it to break below this area to mitigate this imbalance. But I wouldn't trade anything down the middle here because it's easy to get chopped up down the middle. It looks like another choppy day. I was really hoping that, today was NFP, so we'd have some directional move, but it's just not really being the case. Let's see. Sam said 45.41 sell side liquidity is his target. Needs a valid sell. Yeah, I mean that could be the case here. If this mitigates the imbalance, then this could probably drop right back down lower to here to grab liquidity. It's a possibility, right? A lot of things here are possible. Or what could happen here as well is price can come back down to open, fake out, and come right back up. Like, so here's the two scenarios. Look how price is in between this imbalance. This imbalance is not invalidated yet, right? So because it's not invalidated, what could happen here is price can come and grab liquidity right here, or not really grab liquidity, but bounce and fake out off the opening price and Asia low here and then swing right back up. However, if it closes below the imbalance and it mitigates it, then it may break and retest below here and drop lower from there. All right, it's two scenarios here. Either fake out and push back up from here, or break below the imbalance, mitigate it, break and retest off the opening price and continue down lower. My guess is that price is going to continue back up. I think it's going to fake out here. It's luring in sellers. That's kind of what I see here. I see price luring in sellers here because, you put things in perspective. Obviously, if people see price coming down, what do you think is going to happen here? People are going to start chasing it. And as soon as they start chasing it, where do you think they're gonna enter a sell here? And where's their stop loss going to be? At this lower high. Right. So what I can see happening here is this is a lure for sellers. As soon as price gets below the imbalance, people are going to try to get in for a sell. It's going to reverse back up, stop them out right here, maybe retest the imbalance, break past this higher high and continue up higher. That's just my take on it. Right. Everybody could have their own take on it, but this is kind of what I'm seeing here. I'm looking for an upside push, basically. The reason why I'm looking for that upside push is because my overall market structure bias is very bullish. My overall trend over here is very bullish. And then my daily outlook for the day is also neutral bullish. So, I mean, everything's still pointing towards a buy here. I'm not really looking for sells. And I'm going to follow through with this here if it does end up pushing up higher. So, you just got to have some sort of bias, guys, and stick to it. It doesn't matter if someone else has a sell bias. there's always going to be conflicting views. So whatever your bias is, stick to it. Don't let someone else influence your decision. For me, I'm still looking for buys here. Until I'm proved otherwise with regard to my market structure and trend, then I'll switch to a sell. But right now, I'm looking for buys. Now, that's one thing that you guys always have to remember. Don't let anybody influence your decision making when you're looking for opportunity for entry, because it really screw up your trade psychology if you let somebody do that. So we got a support level right here. I'm going to go ahead and extend this over. So we got support right here. Price is breaking past the imbalance, guys. So we're getting that correction back up right there. My orb high is still at 45,821. This is a possible high-low break and retest right here off this lower high. If anybody's looking to take this right here, I'm going to hold off on this because, like I said, I don't want to trade down the middle here. I don't really want to trade down the middle here because this is a choppy area. If you guys want to take this high-low break and retest, it is currently active right now. So high-low break and retest right there, currently active. I'm not in this position. Like I said, I'm not going to trade right here down the middle because this is a chop zone. I'm looking for price to break above here, and I'll look for trades above in this upper area. So I'm not in this position right here, but that is technically a high-low break and retest within the range, which is not a good setup. You don't want to trade within the range. It's a directional strategy. So you want to look for direction, not choppiness, not sideways movement, none of that stuff. But it looks like my pattern over here is starting to play out perfectly, guys. So if you guys saw earlier, I mentioned that this could be a possible head and shoulders. That's literally what's happening right here, right? We have price push up, we have a shoulder, we have a head, we have a shoulder, and a continuation up to the upside right here. So with that being the case, this could be a possible inverted head and shoulders back to the upside. Or it might retrace down a little further, right? We do have the shoulder here. Let me see if I have the pattern. Where is the head and shoulder pattern? There we go. Shoulder, head, possible shoulder, continuation. Just something to keep an eye out for, but like you can see over here, price is still ranging and consolidating within this box. So no change for me there. Like I said, I'm still looking for price to break out of my orb, which is at 45,821. Let's see, PC said all these news and price rotated back to the top of the range like the technical show. Yesterday was a breakout. PC said he's either looking for rotation to the downside if we're to hold below VWAP or momentum to the upside if we hold above the all-time high. Yeah, and I agree with you too, PC. I'm with you on that one. Yeah, a lot also mentioned bad jobs number equals lower interest rates. My logic, the low job number is catalyst to reduce interest rates, which means higher stock market. Yeah, exactly. And we'll see what happens here. Um, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens here because although the fundamentals do point in that direction, the market can really do whatever it wants, right? So yeah, that's why it's good to have some sort of bias, some sort of understanding, some sort of position in the market, but then watching the market to see how it reacts is the key thing, right? It's really tying the two together, not necessarily like, oh, I'm only looking for this and I'm only looking for that, but like have an idea or a bias and then see if the market actually does what your bias is saying. So that's what I'm doing here. My bias is for buys and it's bullish. So even though price is coming down a little bit, I'm looking for that correction back up because I'm looking for this here to go where it's supposed to go with regard to, and I'm just doing things from a logical sense, right? Everything that I do with trading, guys, it's all logical. I don't do anything off subjectivity. I do everything off logic, right? Market structure is bullish. Trend is bullish. 1 minute, 5, 15, 30, 1 hour, 4 hour. Market outlook for the day overall is bullish. So I'm looking for bullish trades here. So everything I do and everything I look for, there is reasoning behind it. I don't just take random biased, decisions, not just because price is pushing up, but I do have, a full spectrum of things that I look at to identify my bias. So, I mean, I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong. You could be wrong. Anybody could be wrong, really. It's just waiting for that perfect time to take advantage of your bias, right? My bias is bullish, so my perfect time to take advantage of buys here would be above this orb high. And that's what I'm waiting for. I'm looking for price to get above this area. So I'm not really messing with anything here down the middle because it's kind of pointless to me. I'm not trading a sideways move. If you guys do want to trade sideways, you guys can take the sweeps. But as of now, there's not really much here to take. This imbalance still has not been mitigated. It's still active. I got a couple support levels right here that I guess I can mark up. They're not really important, but I'm going to mark them up anyways, just in case price does come back lower. There's a possibility, but like we talked about earlier, it's probably not going to come down this far. It's just good to have market structure below. So that you guys can kind of see the storyline of like what's been happening here throughout the day. All right, guys, a little bit of a messy market here. Not as much volatility as I was expecting, but we'll continue analyzing this and hoping to see something good here. All right, looks like we might have an orb sell here. I mean, if you guys want to take the orb sell again, feel free. I'm not taking any sells here. Possibility, but I'm not looking to take any sells here, at least not yet. Not until this starts to shift, and not until the trend starts to shift as well. All right, still stuck within the opening range, guys. Price is right here down the middle. This week's been a real toss-up overall. If you guys have been trading with me since Tuesday, I mean, we were kind of expecting it to be a weird week anyways. We came back from a holiday, so this is a short trading week. It's NFP, plus we have interest rates that are gonna be coming out soon. So this whole week in general it's been like this, very choppy, not very directional. And I gave you guys the rundown yesterday. The market moves in cycles every month. The first week is either going to be choppy or it's going to be very directional. It proved to be choppy this week. So next week, I'm expecting it to be a little more directional because we do have inflation data next week. And then the week after that, we have Fed data. So that's also going to be probably either rangy or somewhat directional, at least from Wednesday on. And then the fourth week of September, we have housing data and early jobs data for the following NFP. So we'll see. Not really much going on here. Yeah, Sam said all looks so bullish, 34 ATR. The volatility. So here's the thing. The volatility is there. There just isn't any direction, right? So the volatility is there. These candles are huge, right? This candle over here, 70-point candle almost. This red candle right here, 50-point candle. So the volatility is there. It's just the ATR or the direction isn't there. So you're having this big volatility right down the middle here, where price just keeps going back and forth, but we do not have direction, right? I would like volatility moving directional, right? Go to the downside, go to the upside. I don't really care which direction it goes, as long as it goes somewhere. So we're still stuck within this imbalance, guys. Again, like I said, this imbalance is very key because this imbalance is going to be the deciding factor whether price corrects back up. Because eventually price is either going to bounce out of this imbalance, and this imbalance is going to be established as, probably a strong support at that point and then continue climbing up. Or what could happen here is price can break below and continue dropping. So key things to look out for here is going to be below the imbalance, basically the opening price, that blue line, or for price to break above the high over here, or the orb high range, and continue up higher from there. Otherwise, there's not really any good entries here down the middle. It looks like price is starting to squeeze a little bit. So you can see over here, price starting to get a little tighter. See how price is starting to squeeze here? If price continues to squeeze, then it's going to prepare for a possible breakout, right? Some of you guys might call this an ascending triangle or a descending triangle. I know a lot of you guys, some of you, or not a lot of you guys, but some of you guys like to trade that. So if we have an ascending triangle here, if that becomes the case, and eventually, yeah, price may break above it and break out to the upside, or if you have a descending triangle. I don't trade patterns, but I know this stuff, right? I've been trading for 12 years now. So like I know about all of these patterns. I know about all the theories. I don't necessarily use them myself, but um, I know how to identify them. So those are basically bullish or bearish patterns. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here. It's starting to squeeze. So whenever we get a price squeeze, it's usually followed with a breakout. So I think if you wait long enough, you're going to expect breakouts or you're going to see a breakout happen eventually. Right? My head and shoulders pattern over here that I was kind of identifying didn't actually play through. So we had the shoulder here, head. Actually, it might still play through. It's just really messy. It's not a clean head and shoulders. Or this could be a W pattern, right? That's the thing with pattern trading. There's so many things that you can, it just depends on what you're looking for. Like this could be a W pattern back to the upside. That's why for me personally, I don't like looking at patterns because your eyes are going to see what you're looking for, right? If you're looking for head and shoulders, you're going to see it regardless. If you see a W, you're going to see it. If you're looking for M, you're going to see it. That's why for me, I don't look at it necessarily directly. I use it as a confluence. Same with the imbalance, right? I don't trade imbalance or fair value gaps or any of that stuff. I use this as a confluence. So for this imbalance right here, if price pushes out of this area, I'm looking for the high-low break and retest above here. That's what I'm looking for. I don't care about the imbalance by itself. I'm just using it as a confluence so that if this does bounce out of this imbalance, I'm looking for any buys up here, or vice versa. If price mitigates this imbalance and creates a new imbalance to the downside, I don't care about taking entries right here. I'm going to be taking entries down here. So exactly. Sam said everything works until it does not. Batman pattern. Yeah, the Batman pattern is one that we used to identify a long time ago. It's not a real pattern, but people call it a Batman pattern. Or I mean, I guess it's a real pattern, but I don't use it. Or the dinosaur pattern, or the T-Rex pattern, or the long neck pattern. There's a pattern for everything. Just depends on what you're looking for. All right, so we got price over here. It's now testing the low of the imbalance again. This could be a possible high-low break and retest off this higher low right here. Not one I would take, of course, because like I said, price is within the range. But yeah, it's attempting to break past the lower imbalance here. So again, this imbalance is not going to be mitigated until it closes below this point. It's got to close below this green box here, right? For it to mitigate. There's another fair value gap or an imbalance within the imbalance. It's a sell though. So there is a double imbalance here. There's a big imbalance for the buy, and there's a small imbalance right here setting up for a sell. It's linked between this red candle and this green candle right here. So you basically got an imbalance within an imbalance. Not that it matters because we're not trying to trade it within this area, but I'm just showing you guys there's a possible imbalance here. So this might be another pattern where price may come down, retest, and then come down lower, break below open, and drop further. Again, my bias here is still very bullish, so not really looking for sells here. Starting to get close to that orb low. So if you look over here, price has not broken out of the orb yet. At this point, I think it's too late for the orb, so I probably wouldn't be looking to take an orb here. I mean, if you guys want to take it, feel free. All right, I'll mark it up for you guys and we'll see if it ends up playing through. But I think at this point, the orb should have came up by now. We're just in this huge range, back and forth, back and forth. This is a classic day to stay out of the market, guys. Classic day here. All right. So again, right here, we have nothing happening. It's right in between the imbalance, guys. We have an imbalance within the imbalance. So we got a sell imbalance right here within the bigger buy imbalance. This big green candle created the buy imbalance. And this big red candle over here created the sell imbalance. So not much here going on. Again, guys, let's take a look at our overall bias again just to confirm. So overall market structure here is bullish for me. The 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, all bullish here. We currently have a bullish structure with regard to majority of the time frames. Um, prices outside the order block. Buy volume is looking good right here. It's a lot higher than the sell volume. The imbalances are for the most part mainly bullish. It's above the premium zone. And that's about it for right now with regard to market structure. Looking over here at the overall trend, the 1 minute is currently bearish now. Prices below the pivots, trend meters red, pivots are angling down. The 5 minute here is still bullish. Prices above the pivots, trend meters green, pivots are angling to the upside. Same with the 15 minute bullish, 30 minute bullish, 1 hour bullish, and 4 hour bullish. Everything here is bullish except for the 1 minute time frame. 1 minute's not enough to switch my deciding factor with regard to direction of price. So not necessarily switching here at all. I'm still looking for buys. So overall market structure bias is bullish. Overall trend market structure here is bullish. Looking over here at my daily outlook, also bullish, right? Fundamentals lean bullish, weak jobs data, Fed dovish, risk on, while technicals lean neutral, bearish, overbought, mixed momentum. So net bias is modest upside, but with fragile conviction. The agreement is that both sides acknowledge overall uptrend, but near-term exhaustion because price is at the near the all-time high. The conflict is that fundamentals want to push price higher on easing expectations and Broadcom AI strength, while technicals show momentum fatigue and overbought oscillators. Yeah, so it's the fundamentals push to the upside, but the technical is because we're at the all-time highs pushing down, right? This is overbought. It's basically overextended at this point. So we're pretty much getting conflicting analysis here with regard to fundamentals and with technicals. And you just gotta wait for market here to play out, right? Right now we're still stuck within this imbalance. Like I said before, I'm looking for price to break and close below here to mitigate this imbalance, retest the opening price and drop lower. That situation, okay, I'll look for some sells maybe, but ideally I'm still looking for price to push up from here, break above the imbalance, confirm it, and push past this higher high, right? If price pushes up higher than here, then, I mean, this might be the all-time high, actually. Let me see. Let's see. I'm gonna check. All right, this is the all-time high, actually. 45,841. It's the highest point of liquidity. And just because we're at the all-time high doesn't mean price is going to turn around, right? Price can still push up higher. All right, so we got a retest of the sell imbalance right here. Surprisingly, the orb has not filled yet, guys. This is crazy, right? The orb has been running sideways for over 30 minutes now, almost 40 minutes, almost an hour. The orb usually doesn't linger like this for this long. This is another example that price is not doing anything with regard to direction. Because how often do you see an orb kind of do nothing for, almost an hour now? Let's see. Ed is asking to use ES to help with YM's direction. No, never. The thing is that they trail each other. So I mean, yes, you can use it, but for me, I never use it myself. Right? If you have ES right next to it, they're very similar, but and they're usually supposed to follow each other. But you can see over here that ES is dropping further. ES is like YM's little brother, basically, right? YM is a little more balanced. That's why for me, I like to trade YM versus ES. It's also more volatile, but you can see over here, ES is starting to dump a little further. And usually ES is what's following YM because YM is only 30 stocks. So with YM, it's easier for it to move directional versus ES, which is a little bit slower. It trails it usually because ES is the top 500 overall stocks, while YM is the top 30 stocks, general basket. So with it being, a general basket of stocks, usually the one with the least amount of stocks in it, but also same style of index will lead because it's easier for it to drop. So you can see over here it's starting to drop heavier on the YM versus on ES. ES is still dropping, but the candle here is a lot bigger in comparison because it doesn't take as much for this to move versus ES because a lot of these can be conflicting. So for me personally, I don't use it. I mean, you can use it as a side-by-side comparison, but it's not always going to be accurately trailing. I think YM here is always going to be leading for the most part because it moves faster. There's less stocks for it to react, right? All right, so the imbalance here has just mitigated, guys. I'm going to take this off. We've just mitigated that imbalance. So price over here broke and retest off this imbalance right here. This is the sell imbalance that I had imbalance within the imbalance. Price basically broke below, retested it right here, and came down lower, right? This is an MPS V2, which is running in profit. So this MPS V2 is running in line with the imbalance confirmation right there. Sam said he'll take the 663 sweep buy with a 25-point stop loss. So Sam is getting in right here for a sweep. Let's see if your sweep plays through. Hopefully it does. I mean, it's going to go against the MPS V2 right here, but I'm hoping we'll see. Yeah, it's going against the MPS V2. So we have a sell signal right here, price retraced, confirmed on this red candle. Imbalance right here for a sell was a confirmation. And it looks like it's about to hit right here for the MPS. Yeah, no problem, Ed. They're all different assets, but like I mentioned, ES is good if you want to trade something like if you want to trade order flow, ES is probably the easier one to follow because it's a lot slower compared to YM. Like you can see over here, this is a big dump on this candle right here, right? And again, if we match it against ES, it's starting to dump, but it's dumping a little later, right? The candle prior was not a big dump. ES is basically reacting to YM because it had this big candle right here, which ES had a really small candle. If you zoom in a little bit, see this little doji candle? But look at this one over here. This is the big one. So it started over here on YM the drop, and then ES followed. So yeah, if you want to trade ES, I mean, you could use YM as your confluence, right? Just look at YM and then see how YM moves. If you see a big red candle on YM, it's probably going to follow with a big drop as well on ES. But I trade YM, so it doesn't really go the opposite way. If I was trading ES, then yeah, maybe. But so the MPS V2 right here just hit full TP, guys, for anybody who decided to take that trade right there. Yeah, this was actually a really nice setup for MPS V2 because again, like I said, we had a sell signal here, price retraced, confirmed on this red candle right here. And then on top of that, we had a confluence here where price broke and retest off the imbalance. Right? Price broke below, retested the imbalance. This was a confluence, this was a confirmation, and then it shot right through. Unfortunately, Sam's trade did not play through, but it's okay, Sam. Good thing you had a tight stop loss there. But yeah, tricky market. Tricky market for sure. And then over here, the orb looks like it played through for a sell right there as well. So, all right, the orb is basically done for the day, guys. Unfortunately, I mean, we didn't get into this orb here. I was really looking for it to push up, but we were in this range for almost an hour. What I'll be looking for here is a possible high-low break and retest. I mean, it's 713 right now. It's one of those markets where it's going to be tough to get an entry here unless we have a continuation. So if price continues to drop lower, we may have possible opportunity here for entry. But, just like I said earlier, this thing might just continue to consolidate lower from here. So the analysis that we talked about here is starting to play through. If you guys remember, we had the imbalance here. Price broke below the imbalance. I said, look for that retest of the opening price. and continuation down lower. That's pretty much what we got going on here. Price is dropping lower, but we'll see if it actually holds. Daniel said, man, waited that time and the orb didn't retrace to fill. LOL. Have a good weekend, guys. Yeah, I know, Daniel. Unfortunately, no fill there. The regular orb did push through, but there was no retracement on it. It just shot right through. So, all right, Daniel, we'll see you back here on Monday. I'm not done yet, guys, so I'm still looking for opportunities here for entry if you guys want to hang around for a little bit longer. I'm going to be here still closer to 8, so still looking for entries. Daniel's asking, would you have taken it on that 709 since it didn't actually break past? No, I wouldn't. I would have stuck to my trading plan. I was looking at that though, so you can see over here, it closed right on the line. So I was I would have looked at it, but because it closed on the line, sticking to my trading plan, I wouldn't have taken it. But I know other people would have probably seen that as a possible break past because it's right on the line. It's crazy how on the line it is sometimes. Um, where you have people on different sides of the fence, right? People will see this, oh, like, oh, this is an actual break, but it happened so last second, and some people will be like, oh, this wasn't a break, so they didn't take it. For me, I wouldn't have taken it though, Daniel. I wouldn't have taken it. So it looks like we're getting a correction down here. Look at the NFP price right here, right? It's basically filling this movement here, basically the gap, right? So price gapped up from the news. This is the NFP news, and price is looking to fill that gap right there. So from this low point right here, this is probably where price is going to come down and test. So I think if it drops lower, it's probably going to come down and fill that movement from the NFP. So now we're getting the correction from the news this morning, right? This is the correction that I was talking about earlier. I said price is coming up. It's either going to come back down to correct where NFP was, or it's going to continue pushing up higher. Ideally, I was looking for it to continue pushing up higher, but it never pushed up higher. It just got flat here. It pushed up to a high, and then it started turning from here. And ideally, it's going to push down and retest this price area. So we'll see. Nice work, PC. Yeah, so PC's done. Took his full TP, got in at 713 right here. He was looking for price, yeah, right there. So basically, price over here closed below the New York high, and then it retested and came down super strong. Basically, the correction off the imbalance right there as well. Break and retest off the imbalance. The sells here pretty much just followed through after that. Still no entries for me here. Let me see. I'm gonna take a look at the market structure. Market structure is still there. I'm gonna clean up this liquidity. So we had the imbalance right here. I'm gonna mark this up as resistance now. So we had the imbalance there, but I think this is better off marked up as resistance. No longer imbalance. You got the support right here. We got this resistance turn support, and price is still dumping. So we're getting that move down to the area. Okay, so we're currently at the area now that I marked up, guys. So we're currently back at where price was over here for the NFP. So here's a big NFP candle right here. Price is now at the bottom zone where it's correcting. Sam here's still looking for another entry. I'm still looking for an entry too, Sam. So looking over here now, we're starting to get a flip in the market structure. So the market structure is not super bullish anymore. It's now turning bearish. So if that's the case, I can start to adjust my analysis here. So here's the thing. this doesn't necessarily mean price is going to completely shift, right? What could happen here is price can possibly bounce off this level and then come right back up. So I'm not completely convinced here to take sells. There could still be a nice correction to the upside. So I'm still watching here. I'm being patient, just waiting for the opportunities to arise and present themselves for me. But right now I'm just kind of just following the flow of market. So this could be another trap, right? This could be market could be trapping people here for a sell, and it can easily just shift right back up. So don't chase the sells here, guys. If you have an opportunity or something falls in line with your analysis, then okay, great, take the sell, but don't just chase the sell there, right? This could be a possible sweep, right? Pricing come down, sweep off this area and come right back up. We have another imbalance right here. Right here, guys, we have an imbalance. So we got the imbalance right here. All right, price is retesting the imbalance. So there's two things that are going to happen here. Price is either going to retest the imbalance and drop back down lower, or price is going to mitigate the imbalance and correct back up to open, right? For me personally, I would prefer this. I would prefer this imbalance to get mitigated and push back up to open because my overall bias is still very strong for bullish. Right now, this could be a temporary bullish drop to the downside. Basically fill this gap over here from the news price and then correction back up. Um, for me, I'm just not much of a like I don't like changing my bias mid-session. Like my bias has been bullish pretty much all day, like until it started turning around, of course. But yeah, if that's the case, this could be a temporary drop. They could stop out the sellers, come right back up, and then it'll be back into our original direction that we were looking for. Um, or it might just continue dropping, right? But until I have a confirmation here that market structure has really changed, then I'm not really looking to take this here for sells, at least not yet, right? Eventually, yes, maybe I switch to sells, but right now, I mean, everything here is still kind of mixed, right? The lower time frames are flipping to sells, but the higher time frames here are still bullish for the most part. We just have this huge red candle. If you look over here on the 1 minute time frame, this candle is huge, right? This is an extreme candle right now. It's a little too extreme for me. That's why I think price is going to bounce off the pivot and then it might just correct back up. Kind of like what happened here, right? Look at this green candle. This thing was also red too. So if you look at this green candle right here, this candle dropped down super heavily and then it bounced all the way back up to green. So I mean, same thing could happen here with this candle. This could easily just come down and then it's 7:22 right now. So we have about 30 minutes, 40 minutes on this candle still. This can easily, within the next 40 minutes, spike all the way back up. So you just got to look at things from a different lens, right? I know we're trading on the 1 minute time frame, but look at things on the higher time frames, like the one hour, right? This can easily there's a lot of time on this. There's 36 minutes on this candle right here, which can shift all the way back up. If you go on the 4 hour, same thing, right? Let me go over here to the 4 hour time frame. Like we're not trading on the 4 hour, but use this as a confluence, right? So if you look at this green candle right here, this 4 hour candle still has like 3 hours left on it. So what can happen is it can happen just what happened with the previous candle. It can come down very strongly, and then at the last, couple hours or a couple minutes, price can easily just shift all the way back up and then create a big wick like it did right here. See this big wick? So you just got to be smart about things, guys. Like, if the market's not doing what you're looking for, don't force anything. Like for me, I don't really need to force anything here. I'm kind of red for the week a little bit because I had a win on Tuesday, then I had a loss on Wednesday. We have a short week, so it didn't really give me enough time to really recoup. We're basically down a day. So again, just stick to whatever your trading plan is. If you're looking for sells here, continue following those sells. We do have the confirmation here of a break and retest off the imbalance. Price broke below or retested, drop down from here, and we'll see. Let's see. Sam said he took a sweep at 45,480. Sweep to the upside, no? Yeah. So hopefully this hits for you, Sam. So Sam here took a sweep to the upside, I'm assuming. It's right off that liquidity right there. Where's your target at? Okay, 25. Got you. So Sam here is looking for a sweep to the upside. Kind of tricky right there. Not in this position, but Sam is, I'm hoping this thing here swings back up to hit his target. But, I'm not really looking to jump into anything here, at least not yet. Come on, let's get that swing back up, Sam. Let's get this fake out right here. Fake out and push right back up. Get that W pattern going. Ruin for you right here, Sam, hopefully. Now let's get that W back up. Or a V pattern. Whatever's going to get the price up, I'm with you on that one, but it's kind of tricky because the volatility is really high. If your stop loss is at 25, it's really tight because the ATR is at 33. Let's see. All right, Sam is still in the game. So let's get that push back up to the upside. I'm hoping it pushes up for you right here. Okay, this could be good. I mean, if price pushes up higher, if this candle closes green, possibly, but we haven't had any green candles here yet. Hmm. Doesn't look good. This thing here is starting to dump lower. Again, guys, I'm not in any positions here. Unfortunately, Sam was trying to catch the sweep there. The market's starting to move directional, so the sweeps here are starting to get a little more tricky. So it's all good, Sam. I think at this point, don't tilt. Just take your L's and move on. Um, yeah, it's all good, Sam. I mean, you had a good run. You had a pretty good run. So Sam over here has had nothing but green days. He hasn't had a red day since March. So it was bound to happen, right, Sam? It's part of the game, right? You've been trading with me long enough to understand that like having perfect days are just they're not realistic for like an extended period of time. Like for me in August, we had a pretty good month, right? We pretty much we were killing it for like a pretty good period of time. Let me just move this over real quick. Yeah, I just want to make sure. Okay, so here, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys my stats for the why does this have more trades on here? I'm just not understanding why there's more trades here. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. I'll probably update this a little later. So, anyways, here are my stats for August, right? So, like with Sam, he's had a win streak since March, and look at this big push up right here, Sam. Looks like you just got faked out. Looks like you got faked out right there, and it's pushing right back up. Don't chase it though. I wouldn't recommend you chase it unless you have some sort of strategy behind it. But yeah, here are my stats for August. So like we had a pretty nice win streak basically from July. So July, we had a really nice win streak too. I had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 win streak, and then one loss right there. And then over here for August, we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 win streak, and then one loss right there. So, it's part of the game. For this week so far, I'm like slightly in the red, guys. I had a small win over here on Tuesday, then I had a small loss over here on Wednesday. I'm down 25 for the month so far. So not super bad. I was hoping to get at least one entry here so I could, keep going and bounce back from it, but we just don't have that entry here yet. The trend and direction is starting to shift right now. So if this is the case, I might be able to look for a sell at this point, but it's just a matter of time until we get that. So I'm not forcing any entries here. The volatility is actually really high. We're currently at 37 ATR. So between 35 and 37 ATR, the volatility is extremely high right now. This is where you want to be very careful because look at these big spike candles. See this red candle right here? This red candle was a 70-point candle right there. Huge, huge spike, a lot of fake outs, a lot of opportunity here to get kind of spiked out of your position. If your stop losses are tight, our stop losses are typically 20 points. So if your stop loss is really tight, 20 points, it's really easy to get stopped out of these positions here if price just turns against you for a second. Nice. Yeah, Sam said, yeah, he won 80 points on the NFP, so he's green today. That's solid, Sam. So solid wins right there. Yeah, PC said great discipline, Sam. Best losers win. Exactly. Yeah, I agree with you too, PC. That's why for me, whenever I have a loss, I kind of learn from it. Like you can see over here, my stats and this is just me showing you guys like long-term trading, right? You have to look at things from a bigger perspective. Like I had a really good July and I had a really good August. So like these small losses here don't really affect me. Overall, here are my stats for the year. So I'm currently up 686. So not horrible, but it's still keeping up pretty nicely. It's just one of those periods right now where the market here has kind of slowed down for me a little bit with regard to my entries, but I'm still sticking to my trading plan. Not changing anything here, just sticking to my same strategies, one breakout and then one continuation move. Problem is there's no continuation moves here. Um, I'm looking for a high-low break and retest, but we just don't have that here right now. So what I'd like to see here is I'd like to see price establish, some sort of range for a little bit and then break below and drop lower from there. So this is what I'm going to be looking for right now, guys. I'm going to look for price here to slow down a little bit, establish, or not, it doesn't even have to slow down. What I need to see here is I need a low to be established. Once that low is established, I'm going to look for a high to be established and then break and retest that low. And then I'll look for a possible sell down here, right? The problem is that we get these big pushes, but they don't actually retrace, right? So we had a big push right here and then price just consolidated. We had a big drop right here, but there's no retracement, right? Price just keeps dumping and then retrace or no retrace. And because there's no retracement, we don't have opportunity to establish structure, right? Like I'd like to establish this as a lower low, but because price doesn't push back up for retracement, we don't get a new high here anymore. Looks like price over here broke and retest off the support level. So support turn resistance. Price broke below, retested, draw further. All right, so let's see. I got some new structure here to mark up. So we got a support level right here. I have multiple charts, guys, so this is why I'm looking at my other chart to identify structure. It's on the higher time frame. So I got a support level right there, and I also have a support level right here. This liquidity is done with. All right, so price is still staircasing to the downside right here. I mean, this thing is still kind of dumping a little further. Yeah, Stern said to watch yesterday's open. Is there any more structure here? Okay, so we have London low right here and the New York low. So this is probably as low as price will get. It'll probably bounce off that if price does get that low. But I guess we'll see what happens here if this thing here starts to turn up. So what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for a low to be established. Once the low is established, I'm gonna look for a high to be established. And then once a high is established there, I'm gonna look for price to break and retest off that low and provide opportunity for a high-low break and retest. We just don't have that here, right? Nothing is aligning with my trading plan because we either have a big drop or a big push and then it goes into range or consolidation, but we don't have any continuations here. Like this right here, if you take a sell here, guys, this is what we call catching a falling knife, right? You're just kind of taking that risk until price starts to flip the other way. Or no, catching a falling knife is basically like trying to take the buys here. Basically, what Sam took earlier, he was looking for sweeps, which is a good analysis and a good, like typically it would bounce off these points, but I wouldn't necessarily go against the overall direction, right? Because my overall direction is now shifting. It's now bearish. So I'm actually shifting from buys to now sells, but I need to have some sort of confirmation here for me to start taking that. So catching a falling knife is trying to catch the sweeps back up. The thing is, we're not in a sideways market anymore, right? We were in a sideways market up here, and we're now in a directional market because price is broken out of that range and it's come down lower and lower and lower. Only problem here is price has dropped so far that it's due for a retracement, right? We measure from this higher high to this low. Price has dropped almost 500 points. So it's extremely overextended at this point. Even if we're to measure it from like maybe this high right here, prices dropped 300 to 400 points. So yeah, this here, it's just, it's not worth it. It's not worth taking that risk because eventually, I mean, price can really go either way. Sam over here said, no, I'm done for the day. I'm more scared of breaking my no red day on my psychology than losses. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean too, Sam. Sam over here has been having green days since March. So like, if he starts to trade on tilt, it's could mess up his psychology for the rest of the year. If your trade psychology is on point, guys, stick to your trading plan, even if you're slightly in the red. Like for me, I'm slightly in the red for the week. This could destroy someone, right? Like for me, I'm like, whatever, because I already know if I have one win, it's going to bounce back. But for a lot of people, having a red day or a red week, this could really destroy someone, right? I'm sure I'm speaking to a lot of you guys here. Like if you're in the red for the week, you're wanting to bounce back to recoup that loss and come back into the green before the week ends, right? So I see a lot of people they're in red by Friday and they try to take some like random entries just to like have it, bounce back before the week closes. And what happens is they just end up taking really bad trades. Like for example, over here, I think this market is luring in sellers for sure because there's no retracement yet. So I think people are, a lot of people on the retail side are just like, oh, I'll just keep riding this down, down lower and lower. And eventually this thing's going to spike up super strong and it's going to stop them out. They're going to have a big loss. Like I would never chase a drop like this. Let's go back over here real quick. This thing dropped past the NFP. So if you guys remember from this morning, I mentioned, the news was negative. So price should have dropped right here from 530, but price pushed up and manipulated to the upside. So with manipulating to the upside, price over here is now starting to correct back down super heavily. And you can see these candles here are starting to get really big. Look at this current candle here, this green one. This green candle right here is 41 points. Again, I'm still looking for this to retrace up. So I'm okay with taking sells here, but I need to have some sort of retracement. I need this to retrace up a little bit and then come back down. Until we get that, not really looking to take anything here. All right, now we wait even further. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. I'm kind of just hanging back, like we discussed. All right, let's see if we finally get a retracement here. So we've dropped down so low, guys, that I don't have market structure down here. I don't have market structure down here at all. Let me see if I can go up on a higher time frame, maybe. No, even on the 5 minute, I don't have market structure down here. On the 10 minute, I do have market structure, but it's pretty far down. It's at like 45,291. Here, let's see. I guess I could mark up market structure here. It's just so we have an idea of like where price can maybe bounce from. So this is on the 10-minute time frame. I have a separate chart open with market structure there. Okay, so if price continues to dump lower, which price is currently right here, and let me zoom in a little bit. So if price drops lower, we have 10-minute support down here. I think what might happen here is price is just going to flatten out and we're going to get some sideways move. So if price drops any lower, we may have a possible reversal from here. Or price may drop lower to the London low and New York low right here from yesterday and reverse. Or we might just get a sideways move here for like the next 20 minutes. It might just go flat. Or it might come down a little lower and then reverse. Okay, so this is a setup here that I was looking for, guys. So now we have this lower low. We have a new high here. This could start to possibly set up for a continuation. So we got a lower low. We have a pending high right here. Possible high low break and retest from this lower low at 45,331. $45,331. We have a possible imbalance here setting up too. So possible imbalance, or maybe not. The imbalance would have been between this red candle and this one if it was going to push up higher, but it's not pushing up any higher from there. So this could be a possible high-low break and retest at 45,331. Sam also mentioned this could be the possible 1 hour orb. It could be the 1 hour orb or the 45-minute orb as well, right? Yeah, there could be. This candle is pretty big though, so I wouldn't look into this one here, maybe the next one. All right, so this is going to be a little tricky here, guys. Now, looking at this here, price is kind of it's consolidating and ranging sideways. This is going to be tricky because we're looking for a continuation to the downside, but you don't want price to be stuck in this range, right? Like while we're looking for this here, we also don't want price to fake out and pull back into the range. But if you're looking to take this high-low break and retest, this could be a possible entry right here. I'm going to be watching it. I'm looking at the price action to see how it closes. This could set up for a possible high-low break and retest off this lower low. So price is breaking right there. I'm going to watch to see how this candle here closes. I don't like how it bounces off there, but I want it to actually close below it and it stays below that point. Possible entry here for high-low break and retest. No. Nope. Close, but not close enough. See, we didn't break, but we broke it, but it didn't actually close below it. So I would need a clean break, clean retest, and continuation. Yeah, the price action here is starting to die out a lot. It's getting really slow. We'll see it again here if it actually breaks past it. It's not looking like an entry that I would like to take here, of course, because again, this is what I was talking about earlier. It's not a clean break and close, right? It's a lot of it at the test of this lower low. Test, second test right here. It's indecisive. Yep, still no entry there. All right, I'm not going to take this here for a sell. If you guys want to take it, I'll follow it for you guys. But like I said, I'm looking at the price action here and it's not a clean break and retest. So I'm looking for a clean break and close below this point, retest and drop further. But right here, you can see it didn't even close below it. Got close to it, but not quite. It's doing pretty much what I anticipated. So over here, I mentioned prices are probably going to just get flat here and consolidate sideways. A flip to the upside might happen at this point. There might be a correction back up. But my overall market structure is currently bearish right now. 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute bearish. Looking over here at the overall trend, 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute, 1 hour. Prices below the pivots, trend meters red, pivots are angling down. So obviously we are in a bearish bias right now with regard to trend and market structure. But again, right there, no a failure to break and close below the lower low here. Not looking super great. Again, if you guys want to take the entry, feel free. I'll follow it for you guys. I'm not going to be taking it. Looks like I might be closing this week for a loss, unfortunately, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, I'd rather have a small loss for this week than you know, take something that's risky. Again, right here, price is trying to break and close past it, but it's not really holding below the level. If you guys want to take this here, again, the level is at 45,331. It's got to close below it. So we actually got the close right there. We'll see here if it retests. This has to retest on this following candle. If it doesn't retest on this one, you got to cancel your order, guys. Here, let me check the other orbs here. So there's a couple different orbs that play out. We have the 1 hour orb that Sam just mentioned. So the 1 hour orb would be right here and 7:30. Yeah, so the 1 hour orb over here actually it filled already at 7:33. That is a 1 hour orb right there. Broken retested too. So I typically apply the 2 minute orb. This here is the 1 hour orb. This is the orb high, orb sell. If you were to take the 45-minute orb, it would be 45-minute orb would have been right here. Also, right there. So, it depends on like what type of orb you guys are looking to take. If you guys wanted to take the 30-minute orb, I mean, it wouldn't matter. The 30-minute orb would have happened down here as well. It's the same as the original orb that we looked at. Oh, you're talking about the order block. Gotcha. Yeah, but other people apply the orbs as well. I apply the 2 minute orb, but there is also the 15-minute, the 5 minute. The 15 and the 5 would have landed with my 2 minute orb, but there was also the 1 hour right here, and there was also the 45-minute right there. The 1 hour actually played through right here. It broke below it, retested, and came straight down. So that would have been the 1 hour orb that a lot of people like to apply. I'm not in any of these positions here, guys. I'm just kind of watching as price continues to move along. You can see over here, price is just in a heavy consolidation range. Overall structure here is still a little mixed. Yeah, we still got price going back and forth. So unfortunately, guys, it looks like I might have to eat the loss this week. Yeah, small loss this week. I'm on a little bit of a losing streak, right? Well, it's not a bad losing streak, but so last week I took one trade. I took a loss, unfortunately, on Wednesday. And then this week I took a small loss, not a full loss because I won on Tuesday. I'm not on a losing streak. I'm just on a weekly red week. And this just goes to show, this is the realistic side of the market. You can't be green always, right? You can't be green forever. For me right now, this is completely fine because I'm taking half risk. So looking at my risk so far, I just if I have one more win, this will recoup the loss and then it'll push me back in profit. So I'm doing a 1 to 2 risk reward per trade basically. So for me, it's I'm not really in a tight position right now. I could take a lot of losses. Like I could take like six back-to-back losses until I'm going to be in trouble, which is probably not going to happen. I'm hoping the orb is going to be like our breakout's going to be a lot more smoother next week. So that I can just bounce back, right? If we have like two wins next week, I'll be in profit like times four. My R multiple will be up by four. Right now I'm negative one R. Or not even negative one. I'm like negative 0.75 R because this is a partial loss for this week, right? I'm only down 25. I'm not down the full 36. I don't even know why it shows 44 trades. It's kind of weird. I'll have to go back. It might have doubled up on my trades there. But yeah, I'm just sticking to my trading plan, not taking anything here. I'm not taking any emotional trades. Just kind of waiting for something here to come. There's another possible high-low break and retest right here, guys. Off this lower low. It's going to be at 303, 45, 303. This one over here looks like it could be a good one actually, but the problem with this here is that it's currently at the support levels. So this could be tricky. If you guys are looking to take this right here as a high-low break and retest, it has to fill on the second candle. If it doesn't fill on this next candle, then there's no entry. 45, 303. I'm gonna watch the price action here. I'm kind of tempted to get into it, but I'm not really convinced because we're currently at the support level right now. So this could be a possible balance. So I'm not gonna take it. I'm just gonna watch it. Yeah, this is just a tricky area because we just talked about this earlier. We said price can possibly get to this support level and then reverse back up. Or this can just, come right back down, blast through the support level and shoot for the lower lows down there. Looks like that might be the case here. I didn't want to stomach the risk though. We're so late into the session. So I'll follow up for you guys here. This is a high-low break and retest off this lower low. I'm actually really glad I didn't take the trade because it looks like it's going to stop out. Yep, dodge that bullet there. So I think at this point, guys, I'm already hands off on the market. There's a lot of back and forth movement here. The volatility is a little high. My stop loss is at 20 points, guys. So if the ATR is at 31, it's really easy to get stopped out. Dodged a really nice bullet right there because this here would have stopped me out. I would have been pretty pissed if I took that trade because after I just gave you this whole spiel about, being consistent and not jumping into trades, not being emotional, this would have been a FOMO move for me. If I would have taken that trade right there, I would have been really upset with myself because I literally just told you guys um, how I'm okay with closing this week with a loss and I'm just gonna bounce back next week. So, yeah, if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to hop into the chat. Again, right now, there's just nothing here for me to hop into. Sam is asking, Sean, did you get into FTMO with the swing? So, I regret not getting into it, Sam. I actually canceled my order. As well, the thing is, like, I was waiting for that trade since like Sunday. So Sunday of like last week, I was literally waiting for that trade, and unfortunately, I didn't get into it. I canceled it. See, I was gonna get in right here for NFP. So for NFP this morning, I was actually gonna get in right here at 45,500 and then catch the bounce back up. See how price literally came down and it rejected directly off the 45,500? I was gonna get in right there and then push it up to 250 points and just get out. But I woke up late today. So I woke up at like 5:50 and at that point the NFP data already came out. My other entry was down here at 45,000 for my swing. So I tried to get in at this price point. It didn't fill me. It got really close to it. So you can see right here, this green candle came down and I was trying to get filled right here, but because of the spread, it didn't fill me. It got exactly to 45,000, didn't fill, and it shot right back up. My goal here was to catch a 2R. So I was trying to get in at 45,000 and then ride this up to 45,750 right here. Or no, actually, I was trying to get out right here at 45,500. So 1R, 2R, I was going to get out, but I never got the fill here. I almost got filled again right here, but it never came down. So I was trying to get in right here, get out right there, and I tried to get in again right here. Never came down to fill me. I was really tempted to get in at the 250 right here, but at this point, I would have been kind of just forcing a trade. I was really trying to catch that dip down here. But it's all good. I'll be trying to catch those swing trades next week. I'll try to give you guys a heads up on like where my entry points are going to be. I got to see how market opens up on Sunday, and then when market opens up, I'll kind of determine where my swing entries are going to happen. I'm going to dollar cost average into these positions. I'm going to be trading on like three assets. So I'll be trading on US 30. I'll be trading on Nasdaq 100. I'll also be trading on S&P. So I'll be looking for areas here to dollar cost average in. So I'll probably get into these positions with like maybe a quarter of my contract size or my lot size. So I'll probably try to get in maybe, depending on how this candle here closes, I'll try to get in either at the 250 or the 500, or I might just get in on both. So I might get a first position in right here, second position in right here, and then catch the correction back up and then get out right here at 750 for like basically 500 to 1,000 pips. That's kind of what I'm looking for there. So just like a little preview of like what I'm going to try to get into next week. Um, once market reopens on Sunday. All right, so we're going to flip back to the upside right here, or not really. We're getting a range right here. So you guys can see the range here between this lower high and this lower low. It's back and forth, etc. Yeah, don't really see too much here. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to hop into the chat, guys. It is 7:56 right now. We got market hitting 8 o'clock in about 4 minutes. That's my cutoff for trading. I'm pretty much done trading for the week, guys. I don't think I'm going to force anything here. Like I said, don't. The worst thing you can do is let your emotions take control right now, right? Don't FOMO into any trades. Don't overtrade. Don't revenge trade. Don't do any of that stuff. This right now is like it's a test of patience. For me, I'm really itching to get into a position, and I already know that. So for me, I'm better off just closing out my account or closing out my laptop and not taking any more trades because I already know the next trade I take is going to be a FOMO trade. And yeah, I could get lucky and it can hit, but I could also get unlucky and it could lose, and then I'm going to be in the hole another 0.5 R, right? I'm already negative right now, 0.75 R. So I'm not really down that much. I'm not even down 1 R, but if I take another trade, I'm going to be down 1.25 R, which I don't want to be in because I need to have one win. Basically, one win is going to recoup all of my loss from this week and last week. That's pretty much where I'm trying to get out of. I just need to have one win next week. One win, it's going to recoup my loss from Wednesday, and then it's going to push me back in profit. Because look, so here are my stats right here, right? So basically on my winning day, I make about like 65 to 45, 47,000, right? So right now I'm currently down 25,000. If I have a win next week, say on Monday, then I'll recoup that 25 and I'll make another 40 on top of it. So that's why like I'm forward looking. I'm not really like looking at my red for today. I'm looking at my win for the next day because my win for the next day is going to recoup that loss plus push me in profit pretty nicely. And if we have like two wins next week, you know, balance that out, it's going to be pretty nice. So I'm just waiting for better market conditions. You got to look at this from a bigger lens, not exactly for like just this week, but I'm looking at from a whole month perspective of September. Yeah, Sam said, yeah, Sean, my pending buy on September 3rd was above yours at 45.90, got filled and today NFP, it blasted up. Yeah, I was really tempted to leave my positions pending for today, Sam. but I didn't want to hold it over the weekend. Even though I can hold trades over the weekend, I don't really want to hold it because you know what happens over the weekend. You'll come back on Wednesday and this thing will spike like 500 points, right? Um, yeah, let me go over here to US 30 real quick. So let's see. So where does the market turnover from? So I mean the gaps here aren't that bad, but there's gaps where like they're crazy big. So right here there was actually no gap. I'm trying to look for a week where there was like a crazy. Okay, so again, this isn't like super crazy big, but there is a gap right there, price gap. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about like getting into a position, holding it over the weekend, and then it spikes like 1,000 pips or 100 points, right? Which shouldn't be that bad because my swing trades, I usually have about a 500 point stop loss anyways, so I can stomach the drawdown. It's just for days like this. See this big gap right here? This one over here is a different story. Right. This is a 3,600 no, higher actually. This is a 4,463 pip gap between the weekends. Basically between the weekend Friday to Sunday, 446 points. So this over here could be a problem because my stop loss is like 500 points, 5,000 pips like this right here. Like even though I can hold trades over the weekend, I wouldn't because this would be really close to even though this is a good gap because it pushes to the upside, it's if it did the opposite, I would have been kind of screwed. Yeah. So I'm still trying to get out of my positions by Friday. You know, this week was just a little too last minute for me. So I wasn't really looking to get in on a Friday and then have to hold it into the weekend. All right, guys, it's 8 o'clock. As you guys can see here, price is just going back and forth. Nothing going on here. I'm going to eat my loss for this week, take it on the chin, come back next week fresh. Hopefully we have more of a directional market so that we can bounce back from that one loss this week. Um, it's doable. This is why I trade with a 1 to 2 because the losses don't hurt as much. And then once I have a win, it's going to bounce back. And then if I have more wins, more than one win for the week, it'll recoup the losses and it'll set me ahead for the following week to follow. So just keep this in mind, guys. This week was NFP, very choppy this week. Next week is inflation week. I'm looking for more of a directional market. Week 3 is going to be Fed week, so we're going to have the interest rate probably cut going to happen on that Wednesday, 25 basis points. It's probably going to push price or market a little bit down. Um, and then Friday, we're going to have housing data and jobs data. And I think that's about it. So. Um, all right, I think that's it, guys. If there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to hop into the chat on Discord. Feel free to message me. But I think this is it for the week. So unfortunately for this week, we had one win, one loss, or one partial win, one full loss. I'm slightly in the negative. I'm showing you guys this just for transparency purposes because I want to show you guys that we're still early in the month, right? We have a whole month of September ahead of us. And there's so many more opportunities here to make it back. So like if you're in the red for this week, don't let it bother you too much. You can see over here for August, we started off pretty strong. July we started off, so July was actually similar to this month, right? I had a win on Tuesday, I had a loss on Wednesday. Very similar, exactly how this month is starting out. And then after that, we had a crazy win streak right here. Not a crazy win streak, but a pretty nice win streak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 winning days back to back. So this is what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for like, we shook out that loss right there on Wednesday, which is this week. And then we just have a nice win streak to pretty much propel us into the following month and into the rest of the year. So yeah, that's about it, guys. One win, one loss for this week. Overall stats for this year so far, I'm currently in profit 686,915 gross, 585,108 net. My win-loss ratio is at 67.3%. My profit factor is 1.57. It's been a pretty good year so far. Pretty good year, pretty good overall month. And we just got to keep pushing. Just got to keep pushing. So, all right, guys, if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Otherwise, I think this is it for the day. So have a great weekend, guys.